What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're taking a trip down memory lane, and I'm going to call this my Then versus Now series. This is going to be where I show you some of my very first recipes that I learned on my cooking journey in the early days, how I made it then versus how I would make it now. Crab dip is on the menu. Let's make it happen. All right, guys, so today I'm going to show you my very first crab dip recipe. This is actually one of the very first dishes that people would request from me, you know, when I was young, probably like 17, 18 years old when I first started making this. Super simple, and today we're using the crock pot. So first things first, we're going in with 1 stick of butter, 1 block of cream cheese, and we're using claw crab meat today. Much cheaper. Again, when I was 18, I didn't have a ton of money, so we had to use the most cost-effective approach. Imitation crab meat works for this. I've done it with that before also, but obviously if you can use the real thing, if you can find the real thing for a reasonable price, that's gonna be best. All right, in goes 1 stick of butter, which in the new recipe I've come to realize is a little bit overkill, but we're keeping it true to the original recipe. 1 stick of butter, 1 block of cream cheese, preferably room temperature, that way it melts a little bit faster. Throw this in the crock pot on the high setting. It's gonna take probably about an hour or so in the crock pot, but it's super easy and convenient. The other method that I'm gonna show you today is a little bit faster, obviously a little bit more elevated as well, but this is still good. If you want something quick and easy, inexpensive for a party or a get together or just a weeknight snack, this one's for you. 1 block of cream cheese, 1 stick of butter, cover with the lid, let that start to melt, and then we'll get back to work. The butter is melted, the cream cheese is nice and soft. Now it's time to add in 1 pound of claw crab meat. I think claw is underrated. I still use it to this day. It's much, much cheaper. It's sweet, still equally delicious. Lump obviously gets all the love and respect. It's a little bit higher quality, it's a little bit harder to come by, but claw meat is still delicious. So if you have a crab recipe and you don't want to break the bank, don't hesitate to use some claw, especially with something like a seafood salad, a crab dip. When I mix this in, immediately I'm seeing is way too much butter, but younger me didn't know that. And my arteries are probably a little clogged from all of those years of eating this, but we're here now and we're gonna make it for you guys. I would maybe knock the butter down just a touch, but it's in there and it's gonna be delicious. I'm gonna give that a good mix. Only a few more ingredients to add. We're gonna add some Old Bay, plenty of that. Season to taste as always, a little hot sauce, whatever you like. And then whatever shredded cheese you have. Today we have Colby Jack, a little cheddar. We're gonna get that in there, taste and adjust as needed. Hit it with a little lemon juice if you got that. I didn't used to do that either, but it would make sense. Have a little acid, and then it's good to go. All right, guys, so while our original version is cooking away in the crock pot, it's time to prep the new and improved crab dip recipe. This one is like a Cajun crab dip, so you got to get started with the Cajun Trinity. That is comprised of celery, bell pepper, and onion. We're going to give it a nice rough dice. Doesn't have to be, you know, perfect. You can use a food processor for this as well. You can also just omit the veggies if you don't want them in there, but they do provide some flavor and texture to the dip, which is really nice, very traditional when it comes to Cajun recipes. Almost all of them start with the Cajun Trinity, including this one. So this is my new version of the crab dip. It's a little bit more elevated. It has a little bit more, you know, robust and well-rounded flavor profile. We have acid from the wine, which the other recipe doesn't have. It's all fat and cream cheese and butter, which are delicious, but doesn't necessarily make for a well-rounded flavor profile. So a couple things that I've learned along my culinary journey is how to balance flavors, and that is what led me to tweak the original recipe from when I was 18 and didn't really know what I was doing. All right, so a couple other differences to the new recipe versus the old is what we use to eat the dip with. So back in the day, I just used whatever crackers I had or tortilla chips. Today, I'm gonna show you this delicious garlic butter baguette that pairs beautifully with this crab dip. I'm gonna go ahead and dice this onion. That's the last step to our Cajun Trinity. Then we're gonna prep our garlic butter for the baguettes. Let me know in the comments what your favorite cracker is for dips. I like chicken and a biscuit. Ritz is cool, club crackers are cool, but let me know what your favorite is in the comments. We have some bread that we got from the store. Smells amazing, freshly baked. You can go to the bakery at most grocery stores and get some good quality bread. We got a half a stick of butter that is mostly melted, 1 tablespoon of garlic, a tablespoon of parsley, and as much Cajun seasoning as you want. We'll brush that on the bread, get that in the oven at 350 for about 10 to 15 minutes. Next up, guys, it's time to start on the new method for the crab dip. This is my Cajun crab dip. We're gonna saute all the ingredients first, add it to a casserole dish, and pop it in the oven to finish. All in all, it takes probably 25 to 30 minutes in total to cook. Quite a few more ingredients than the original. Much better flavor profile, in my opinion. It's more well-rounded. A little less butter. Obviously, we got 2 tablespoons of butter going in versus 1 whole stick, which was overkill. But, you know, butter makes everything better, right? I'm gonna melt that down. Then we're gonna add in our onions, bell pepper, celery, our Cajun Trinity. Sweat that down, let it get nice and tender. Then we'll start to add in our cream cheese. You want to season every step of the way. That way you make sure you cover all your bases. We got my AP seasoning, a pinch of salt, a little Cajun seasoning as well. Gonna get all that in there. Sweat those veggies down. The salt actually helps to draw out some of the moisture from the veggies. That moisture will evaporate into the steam that you see right here. And then the veg will start to shrink a little bit in size and start to get nice and tender. We're also gonna add in about a 1/4 cup of sherry wine or dry white wine. This is gonna add a little acid. Tastes great with seafood in general. You could also use lemon juice if you don't want to cook with wine. Probably not a 1/4 cup of it though, maybe a tablespoon or 2. I'm gonna cook this down, let most of that evaporate, leave it behind the flavor and the acid. Let's work that in. Then we'll start to add in our room temperature cream cheese, allow that to melt, then work in our lump crab. Once everything's well incorporated, it's time to go in with 1 pound of lump crab. I wouldn't use anything like jumbo lump for this because it's overkill and it's super expensive for a crab dip. Lump is about as much as I would splurge on a recipe like this, unless I'm really trying to like go over the top and impress somebody. We have a house guest, house party, special occasion. But even then, lump will get the job done just fine. You want to do this over low heat. So I'm going to turn the heat off, let the residual heat keep this cream cheese nice and warm. It's going to fold in the crab meat. I'm gonna go in with about a tablespoon or so of hot sauce, depending on your spice tolerance, and about a half a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Get our cheeses in there, and then get it in the casserole dish and into the oven. All right, people, it's time for the moment of truth. The OG crab dip is done, and the new school crab dip is fresh out of the oven. All right, guys, this one right here is nostalgic. It's a buttery mess, but it's so good. Probably should take my heart medicine that I don't have yet. I may need after this, and give it a try. Very few ingredients, lots of butter, lots of crab, cream cheese, Old Bay, hot sauce, and you're done. A little cheese. Smells like home. The butter coats your lips immediately. It's almost like a lip gloss. Amazing. That's like a 9 out of 10. It'll be tough to beat. We'll see what we got with the new school. A little more complex flavors in here. A little lighter in terms of the butter content. Got some texture from the veggies. Crostini instead of the crackers. Those are my favorite crackers. So to be fair, maybe I should try with that. Let's try with a cracker too. It's good. It's different. I might gotta go with the original though. In terms of strictly for flavor, it's just butter and crab. It's very simple. Sometimes simple is best though. Let's see what the guys think. That's tough. One more.
Put it back.
Because why the hell not?
Let's see what the hype was about.
I'm trying with the new school.
That was my first highly requested dish right there.
Yeah. That's good. That crab flavor really coming through on that one.
This is like it's the hood cousin, and that's the bougie cousin. I mean, It's all good in the hood, boy.